visit. And if we can better prepare a community, it's going to be as if there's more responders. We've got to start understanding in this country that emergency management is not about an office. It's not a position. It's not a role that one person plays. I understand that we hire emergency managers in counties and states and even in businesses around this country, but we've got to get a mindset change here. We've got to start understanding that each of us are emergency managers. How quickly a business can get back on their feet after a disaster depends on how well we do today. It depends on how well we actually plan for that disaster. And although every situation is unique, any organization, any business, whether it be a small business like yours or whether it's a large corporation, we can be better prepared if we just plan carefully. We put procedures in place. We put policies in place. We do reviews, and we practice. And I'm as excited about emerging technologies as the next guy. I think we need to make sure that we balance the inclusion of those technologies with improvements on old-fashioned response practices. What I mean is we should be willing to explore the positive application of technologies for combating and responding to current and future events. But we need to be aware that even the simplest of technology can trip us up if it completely fails. We've got to balance these new technologies with our old response practices. We can't just throw out the old practices. Every time I ask this question, I get the same answer. When do I want a life preserver? The answer always comes back when you're drowning. I don't want a life preserver when I'm drowning. I want a life preserver before I get into the water. In America, we wait until we're drowning, and then we send somebody to Walmart hoping to God that they've got a life preserver, and we hope that it's on sale. That's the problem.
Whole island is at sea level, so as the water started to come over, it started to flood. But this is an island, unlike the channeling that we had with the levee system in Louisiana. This is an island, so the water's coming in not just over the seawall, which is what we're seeing here, but it's coming in on the back side, the north side and the south side of this island. It's coming in from all four sides and just literally engulfing the city.
And so the water cannot escape once it surges in.
That's right.
There's no place to go.
It's not splashing back out.
The wall itself is actually causing.
That's correct. It's causing some of the problem.
And that's why I'm saying that climate change has become a risk management issue, particularly given the uncertainty about exactly how bad the impacts are going to be and when. We've been surprised every year. It's a known fact that anybody that enters into the pain of a stranger is a remarkable person. So now let's discuss psychological crisis. Psychological crisis is what happens when our coping mechanisms have failed. About how we use positive coping skills. Don't continue to use coping skills that you know are negative. You've got to stay positive because we want to come out on the positive end of this. Let's take a look at a list of some of the things that we can focus on, like diversions. Maybe not everything has to be about the job, but at the end of the 3 months, what if this thing's mutating? We go over it and over it and over it, and we could be looking at 18 months. In the last 2 pandemics, the flu virus has mutated during the 3-month wave, and both of those times it caused 2 more additional waves. So 3, 6, 9 months. How long do you want your school closed? Getting on an airplane has become more difficult and more of a process than it was before 9/11. What we're doing is we're protecting ourselves from the risk of a terrorist attack in an airplane. And this is why we accept those changes, this is why we made the changes, this is why we invested in the changes. But if any of you noticed anybody protecting us from the risk of an agro-terrorism attack in the Midwest? We still don't lock our doors. We don't secure our farmlands in the Midwest. Why? Well, because we haven't had an attack there yet. What we're doing is we're being reactionary. We're waiting for something to happen. That's why we're not addressing these things. Because we're reactionary, and if nobody has attacked us that way yet, then we don't do anything about it. If our subway hasn't flooded that much, then we don't make plans for it. If we've never had a hurricane that big, then we don't plan for it.